You are listening to This is Oklahoma, hosted by Mike Hearn, telling stories of Oklahomans and those that have made it their home.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma Podcast. Mike Hearn here, your host, back with another episode. Excited to share this episode with you today, but before we do, I've got to thank our sponsors. First of all, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame. They've been a huge part of this podcast for the last few years. So the Oklahoma Hall of Fame have been sharing Oklahoma's story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com. And for daily updates, go to oklahomahof on Instagram and give them a follow. Our other sponsor today is the Chickasaw Nation. Now, the Chickasaw Nation have sponsored pretty much everything in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma. And it's an honor to have their name and their brand supporting this podcast. A huge shout out to Governor Anatobi for supporting this podcast. It really means a lot. Our third sponsor is Diffie Ford Lincoln down in El Reno. Now, this one makes me so happy because these guys are great friends of mine, play a lot of golf together. I've bought my cars from them, do most of my oil changes down there, have a cup of coffee, hang out down in El Reno. It's a good spot to go. And not only are they great friends, but they provide a great service. So for over 60 years, third generation family owned Oklahoma business down in El Reno. They're also in Bethany as well. So people in the Bethany area know the Diffies really well. But if you're looking for anything new, used, Ford, Lincoln, or whatever, I'm sure they could find anything you want. Check them out, diffieford.net, and then on Instagram at diffiefordlincoln. This episode is presented by Citizens Bank of Edmond. Citizens Bank of Edmond has been serving Edmond since 1901. They pride themselves on investing in the community and are here for all your personal and business banking needs. For more information, go to mycitizens.bank and follow them on Instagram at citizensedmond, as well as go bank there, because I bank there too. It's been a fantastic personal experience for me. I've had my podcast account there now, my podcast business account there now for 4 years now, I think, and it's been fantastic. So definitely worth your time. They're a great group of people, and they're always there to answer the phone when I forget my password, because I seem to forget it daily. So yeah, go to Citizens Edmond and check them out. It's been awesome.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of This is Oklahoma. Mike and here, host, back with another episode down at Prairie Surf Studios Media. I always get it wrong. It's Prairie Surf Studios? Doesn't matter. The team at Prairie Surf Creative are running the ones and twos cameras and everything. So if you're watching this on YouTube, they're making me look beautiful. My guests already look beautiful, but I need high definition cameras and makeup to make me look this way. So thank you, team. It's awesome. Return guest today and family, because you did feature in the last podcast, but you were just in the background kind of telling funny stories. So we decided to bring you guys in for this one. Please welcome the Farmer family to the podcast.
Hello.
Thank you for coming down. I'm glad we made this happen. It's been almost exactly 2 years to the day since we first recorded and told Darci your story. And obviously Mum and Dad were in the background for that one, but I want to hear your story from their eyes and their ears and their experiences. And obviously you're releasing new music. You've got a lot of things going on at the moment, which we will get to. But let's start out with talking of, kind of Misty Clark, how that experience was when your daughter's 12 years old and wins America's Got Talent. Take us back. What was that? 8 years ago? 8 years ago?
7.
It was.
7
like
years
to
ago.
start?
Yeah.
Well, how far back do you want to go? Like the beginning or after she won?
Well, I think I remember from the first podcast we did that maybe you didn't think she was good as she was. Is that what?
I didn't think she'd make it through.
Yeah.
Not because she wasn't good. That didn't sound good.
Not because she wasn't good. It's because we really had the anticipation that, we were going to go to California.
Yeah.
We took the whole family because we thought it was, one and done. So we were making a little spring break vacation out of it. Took all her brothers and my mom.
Yeah.
And but anyway, she ended up getting the golden buzzer. We were all really surprised because we really thought she's good, but she was so young.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought they would say to her, you are really good at your craft, but you're so young. Come back when you're older and, see how it goes. We really thought that was going to be the case. And so after she got her golden buzzer, we all couldn't tell anyone for like 2.5 months. Oh, and I remember our 9-year-old going, but can I at least tell my best friend? I'm like, no, you can't tell your best friend. We had to threaten him with his life.
Because your brothers
basically.
know and everything. You're like,
Right?
we're going to sign NDAs. And your brother's like, what's an
Right.
NDA? I'm 9 years old.
But we were all sitting at dinner at a hibachi grill. I'll never forget this because I wasn't thinking about it, and Clark's always a thinker. And he's like, he just was kind of wide-eyed, and I'm like, you okay? And he's like, do you realize what just happened? And I'm like, yes, our daughter got the golden buzzer. I can't believe it's so cool. And he's like, no, he goes, do you realize what just happened? He goes, when this airs in May, our lives will never be the same. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, the world who watches this show, which is a lot of people, millions and millions of people, are going to know who she is. And I was like, oh. I mean, I didn't think that far because my brain was like, she wasn't going to make it. And then she's like, ooh, this is cool. She got the golden buzzer, and then each time it was like she did well each round. And then in the end, I never would tell myself that she was going to win because I didn't want to jinx anything. I never would say the word win. I was just like, she's doing great. She's doing great. And then she did win, and it did change our lives drastically overnight, really. We've had to balance and adjust a lot of our lifestyle and what we knew to what we know now. But it's been, I would say, 99.9% good. There's always that 1% that's scary and a little bit navigating waters we didn't really know or understand. But I think we've navigated it well, but we've had a lot of help. Takes a village, especially God, to get through it all. But it's been a wonderful experience, and I mean, I wouldn't change it. I think it's been great.
What a great way to grow up with your daughter, right?
Right.
and family too. Obviously, not just Darci, but your brothers as well, right? And just kind of bring this in, and from 12 to now, like that's a very significant period of someone's life. Like we really grow up in that period, and there's so many things that go on. Not to mention you still went through school and you graduated last year as well. So like congratulations on doing that as well. Thank as being a superstar as well. But how, Clark, when you made that statement, like, do you realize how our lives are going to change? I mean, what's going through your head? Like, what are the doubts? What are you thinking? I mean, yeah, it's huge.
Well, I would say that I experienced all the emotions that you'd anticipate in terms of being so proud of Darci and what she'd accomplished, and excited for, it's Hollywood. We're from Oklahoma. We don't have a lot of that experience or any. So there was all the positive emotions that go along with how awesome the experience was. At the same time, I'm naive as to the workings of Hollywood and how show business works. I don't have any real firsthand knowledge, and so it came along with a tremendous amount of fear. Is this entertainment engine now going to chew my daughter up and spit her out? To be frank about it, and so the fun came with fear. But I will say that we were very fortunate. Misty talked about the team that we had and put together. And we were very fortunate that we had Kelly O'Hara to lean on and for some guidance to help introduce us into a fantastic attorney that I feel like has always looked out for Darci's best interest. And then that also led to a fantastic management team and an agency. And I can say without question that everybody that we've assembled in our team, I believe truly has always only looked out for Darci's best interest, and we've always believed that, and we really have appreciated that, and brought us along out of our naivete and into a more knowledgeable parenting mode and co-management mode. I know that we probably made life very difficult for some of us, for our experts that we brought along in the journey. But and I'll even add this too. I know that there were some challenges. There were some folks that I think approached us that did not have her long-term best interest in mind, and we were so far able to avoid those situations and mitigate any concerns. But even her experience on set. She's been on the set at AGT, Nickelodeon, various other production sets, and
NBC,
everything associated with NBC. Everything has been so fantastic. I have to be complimentary as to those fears were somewhat unfounded. Or either that, or we were lucky enough to just only bump into the most wonderful people in Hollywood.
God was looking after us.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it comes to being naive too, right? Just being like,
Probably a
you
little
don't know
bit.
what you don't know, right? And but then you've got a great
Yeah.
team around you that are looking out for you and
Right.
keeping the sharks away, if you will.
Right.
But they
Yeah.
also respected the fact that we chose to keep Darci at home and we chose to keep her in school so that she could go to church, so that she could go to school and she could be with her friends. And they all were very good about respecting our decision in that. And I think that made a huge difference in not moving her
Yeah.
to LA.
And I think I remember from our last podcast, you would go to school, was it Monday to Thursday, jump on a plane and come back Sunday night? Is that what it was, right? For
Yeah.
like the entire summer?
For a
and you're-
while, it was.
No, for
For a while, it was
5 years.
2 weekends a month, 4 shows a month. So 2 shows in the weekends. So yeah, it was crazy because like I'd go to school and I'd be worrying about like pre-algebra, and then on the weekends I'd go and play in front of a 3,000 people crowd.
Yeah.
And worrying about remembering lyrics to a song, and it was a really weird dynamic, but I think I truly believe that I handled it well, and school was a really big factor in, you know, things would get hard, and so it was like a bringing me back to the ground, like, okay, I have such good friends, I have an incredible community, a family, and you know, these things are hard, but they're also incredible. So I get to go do these incredible things, but still feel like Darci at school. So it was nice.
You can come home and be normal, right?
Yeah.
And like throw on a pair of sweatpants, watch TV with your family, and just
Yeah.
hang out and eat, you know, whatever it is you want to eat for the most part, and just kind of be a kid, right? And just, you know, hang out. Like it's, I'm sure that, and that's a great decision for you guys to go through that, because I can't imagine how hard it would have been if you'd had just gone on the road the whole time, right? Because you're just in it all the time, and it's amazing how we look back, it makes sense, right? At the time, you're like, well, there's all this travel, and you know, and what are the school gonna think, and are they gonna accommodate? But
Well, we had to be
It worked
parents to
out.
3 other kids too.
well, that too, right? Yeah, like, yeah.
So it was very important to us
Yeah.
to make sure we maintain that balance.
And one older, 2 younger, is that right?
Two
Two older,
older,
one
one
younger.
younger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 older ones.
Yeah.
I was like,
Are they still
wait.
involved? I mean, I know you mentioned previously one of them's working across the street here, but I remember last podcast we did, one of them was helping with your merchandise.
Yeah, not so much anymore. He's
Okay.
kind of doing his own thing now. But yes, Dalton, my 24-year-old brother, ran my merch for about a year when I first started out on tour. But now he's a banker, and he's traveled like over 20 countries in Europe
Brilliant.
and Southeast Asia. So he's kind of doing his own thing.
Kind of makes you jealous sometimes. You're like, oh, you're
my
going all these
gosh,
places.
It makes
like,
me so
gotta go.
jealous.
Yeah. Anything really stand out for you guys from the last kind of 7 years, other than obviously winning, but you know, your life's changing completely. But like highlights, lowlights, things you'd give. I mean, if anyone's listening that might have a daughter or a son that could go through this one day, like what would you do? Would you change anything? I mean,
Oh, wow.
what pops up? I mean, I know obviously you stopped working, right? Because you recently, I want to say the last time we did the podcast, you went back to work.
I just come back. That's
right?
correct. So I would suggest that, you know, well, first of all, if it's possible, if I'm allowed to, I need to quote Toby Keith.
Do it.
Toby Keith, in his interview before he passed away recently, he was asked if he had reached the peace that transcends all understanding. And that happens to come straight out of a Bible verse that means a lot to me and my background for certain reasons. And he answered that yes, regardless of what happens with his situation, he had reached a peace that transcends all understanding. Now, our situation in no way relates to that. It's very different. But I will suggest that when all of this happened, it took all the faith I had to understand and be hopeful that no matter how much we feared, it would all work out. And I have absolutely clung to that this entire time, and we've made good decisions and bad decisions, and we've made decisions that we still don't know whether they were good or bad. And I just know that the only secret that I've learned from this, the only thing that I've verified or validated out of this, is that if you seek people that at least share your values in culturally or whatever, it doesn't have to be pure or religious, but if you just seek and surround yourself with people that you know you can trust and are going to look out for you, you're going to make bad decisions, but hopefully they don't ruin your life.
Right.
And I think that we've done an okay job of clinging to that and not screwing this up too bad. Other people could have done a lot better.
Right.
But I don't think we've screwed it up too bad. I don't know. Does it?
I don't think so.
No, I mean, you're still going. You have a new album out. Like you're still
going.
yeah.
You're right.
I can attest that you haven't screwed it up.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like you just have to, I would suggest, if I had any suggestion, it would be to lean on your faith and surround yourself, like Clark said, with people that you can trust, to know that they have her best interest, our best interest, and to just make sure the journey is fun. Make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Make sure that if you're a parent, it's not a forcible thing. It's something that your child's the one driving the train, and that you're not the parent pushing them to do it. I feel that is super important, because in the end, they're the ones with the career, and they're the ones that end up, either happy or not happy. And that would be my suggestion as a parent, is to make sure that you're helping your child for the right reasons. And it's something they want to do as a support engine, not a push it to do it for your own benefit. That's what I would suggest.
Drew, to that point, was there anything you guys did specifically then, other than obviously stay in Oklahoma City over the years, to keep Darci grounded, or just to keep her a child, keep her kind of like enjoying who she is and what she does, and away from all the limelight?
Well, when this all happened, and the agency's like, let's tour her. We're like, okay, well, we said, Darci, what do you want to do? And she said, I want to stay in school. I want to see my friends. So I'm only going to do it on the weekends and every other weekend. And that's what we did. And that's what her agency agreed to. And she toured, how many shows?
Well, I've lost count, but we're over 150 at this point.
All 50 states.
Sure.
And Canada. And so, that was her driving the train.
Yeah.
And we were there to help support and help her with decisions. Obviously, she was 12 when it started. But,
and I will say, I can also say that it was always super accessible to me if I was like, I'm done. I don't want to tour anymore. I want to finish my senior year, which is at home, which is exactly what I did. I was like, hey, I want to be home. And they're like, okay. So it's not, there was always no pressure. It was always, Darci, what do you want to do? What do you feel comfortable? So that was always nice.
Yeah, which is also, I guess, for you guys, you're like, I'm asking my 12, 13-year-old daughter what she wants to do. Like, there's also a lot of big decisions to be made. You've got to take full trust in that, right?
Absolutely.
But thankfully, she made the right decision, so you didn't have to be like, well, I think you should do this and instead. But even if you have those conversations,
steer the train.
Yeah.
She might have been driving, but we had to help her steer it for sure.
That's so awesome. Darci, how does it make you feel to sit here today around mom and dad and tell kind of just fun stories and look back on it for a little bit?
Really good. I can't say it enough. Beyond blessed. I don't think we would have made it this far if it wasn't for our little trio, our team, because we all have our strong suits that complement our weaknesses together. And so it was, we had our moments, but it was always just a stronghold. And so super thankful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I asked this last time. You can sing, right?
I can.
With
my mouth open.
The singing comes from your side, not Clark's side, right?
Correct. No singing.
No singing on your side.
I could ruin this podcast really fast.
No, I've sung my whole life. My dad, I grew up with my parents. My parents had
Singing
a
at
band
church.
in the 70s, and I grew up singing in church. singing in
Yeah.
pageants when I was young, talent shows, all of it. Grew up singing. So, yes.
Is there any plans to have you have mum on any music or have her in the background? I mean, is that like a bucket list thing for you? Do you want to have like, not saying that you, Mister, want to do this, but Darci, for you to just be like, hey, mum was on this track with me and it's crushing it.
You know, that's a great idea. Now that you mention it,
We've sung together in the past.
we've sung together in a couple of my shows, and it's been really fun.
And on some YouTube
And
stuff.
I grew up singing in church with her all the time,
Yeah.
which is always really special. So, oh yeah, so definitely. Sorry, Dad. I definitely get it from Mom.
And I get it from my dad.
Yeah. Clark, you'd be like me. I'd be in the back with like a cymbal or just a triangle, like once, just hit it once and you're done.
Green.
I am so envious. I mean, I can't. I tell that we've got some great guys in our band, and I tell them nonstop that I don't know what appendage I would give to have an ounce of their talent, but it's so fun. I can supply the dad jokes.
Yes. Always. Never ending dad jokes, right?
They are actually never ending.
Yeah. So looking back through kind of social media and all the things you've done since we recorded, there's a few things that stand out. Played at the Oklahoma Opry recently to raise some money. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So, the Opry I started working with about a year ago, right? A year ago. Well, but I grew up on the Opry because they were one of my very first performances on a stage with a puppet and just singing too. They were a force to help me kind of be confident on a stage. So they've always supported me, and they just have an incredible cause, and it's just really cool for music to be supporting a community and all their programs that they have. And they're currently raising money to buy a building to house their new theater for their Saturday night shows, to house their music school for underprivileged kids, and to house the Oklahoma chapter of Guitars for Vets. It's just really cool and all music oriented, and just great people who've always supported me, and I've just wanted nothing more than support them back. So currently helping them with that campaign to raise money for the building, and I just performed for their New Year's Eve show with Caitlin Butts, and it was really cool. Yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah. You've played Herd on Herd as well. Like, how does it feel to come back and play? I mean, obviously, you've played, because when we did the last podcast, you were in the middle of the tour as well. I think you were traveling around quite a bit when you're on tour, going to shows and all over, and you're playing to thousands, then you come back to Oklahoma and it's a few hundred maybe, but it's your home state, your hometown.
Well, even though it's just a few hundred, I feel like it's really special. Yeah. And especially Herd on Herd. Herd on Herd was different. It was my first show here in Oklahoma with no puppets. I went out and played solo, threw on a guitar. Very new for me. And I was kind of, I don't know if it's the right thing to say, if I was nervous to see who would all show up, but I was kind of eager to see how many would come in and support without, knowing there wouldn't be puppets, what they all know me for. And it was a great turnout. I was pleasantly surprised because I was just out there singing with my mouth open. But a lot of people came out and supported, because Oklahoma has been nothing but supportive of anything I've ever wanted to do, starting with AGT. And now that I'm like opening this new door, I'm like, hey, I also write music. This is a new passion for me. I'm trying to play guitar, not very well, but, and they're like, hey, they come and they support it. And it's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Was that moment then kind of like, obviously it sounds like you'd been planning to make this little, move into a new time, a new season, whatever you want to call it, to do, sing with your mouth open, as you call it, right? Because most people listening, if they don't know who you are, they should, but you've made a career out of singing with your mouth closed, which is extremely talented. So it's nice to kind of, go the traditional route now, I guess.
Right.
But what's, you're releasing new music, you were back on AGT recently. Let's talk about going into the new season and new music and where you see that, and was Herd on Herd and that show kind of did that, is that a marker in like, I really want to do this and this is what I want to do? I'm never going to leave behind the ventriloquism, but my new direction is singing with my mouth open.
Right. Well, honestly, over the years in my shows, just honestly in the past 5 years, I've sung solo songs and sang with my mouth open in my shows all the time. And now it's just kind of grown into more of I started writing music in quarantine and playing piano and guitar and really finding a new side of myself that I just hadn't shared publicly with people. And so now it's like something I want people to know about me. And I think the thing that everyone's getting tripped up on is like, oh my gosh, she's throwing away the puppets, she's closing the door.
Which is just not true. I like to look at it as just opening another one. It's both doors are open and just walk through one or walk through the other. I'm just excited for this new avenue. I just put out a single which was really, really fun. And my mantra is I don't want to be put in a box. And that's kind of what I'm exploring now is, yes, the puppets are going to be here, but I also would love to share this part of myself with you guys because it's become a huge part. So I'm excited. And AGT was fun. It was quite the experience. It was a pretty, I don't know if it was a controversial reaction to what I did. It was. Okay.
Is this where you coming out with an electric guitar?
Right. So the first. Yeah. So
it's not what I expected.
Yeah.
So everybody else probably reacted saying.
Well, but tell them, you told them you were going to come on their
Right.
show. They asked you.
They asked me to come on this new show. It was Fantasy League.
Okay.
And at first, I said no. And then they came back and asked again, and I was like, okay, maybe this could be really cool. If I come on the show, I'm going to do something different. I'm not going to do what I've done the last 7 years I've been on the show.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay. I was like, okay. And so the first audition, I come out, and it looks like I'm working Petunia, which
I'm voicing her. I'm just not manipulating her. And in the middle of the song, I step away from her and throw on a guitar. And I'm playing the guitar, I'm singing for me, I'm also singing for her. There's a lot going on. It was really fun. And it just was not received well by the judges. Not at all. Like in the slightest.
Who were the judges this year?
It was Simon, Mel, Howie, and Heidi. The four that were on my season. Really? They brought Mel back for the show. And out of all the judges, I thought Mel would like it, but she just didn't. I just don't think they understood what I was trying to do, because to me, my performance was really symbolic and kind of metaphorical for what I was trying to do in life at 19. Because I'm saying, hey, here's me. This is what you know me for. I still love to do it, but I'm just stepping over here for a second. I also love to do this.
And they just didn't get it. And so that was a little unfortunate. But I believe things are meant to happen in the way that they happen. And so in the original plan, if I were to make it to the second round, we had talked about still bringing back a puppet for the second round and gradually kind of shedding that on the show. But we were talking, and I was like, that's what they want me to do. They want me to come back with a puppet. After all the negative commentary. Oh, they didn't like it. She's going to bring back a puppet and do what she always does. And I was like, no. So
doubling down on my decision.
Yeah,
they all wanted me to come back with a puppet, the producers, Simon, and I just, I guess, refused is the word, but in a very, respectful way. It was coming from a place of, I really need to do this. This is so important to me. And if people don't like it, that's okay. So the second round I came out and sang an original song that's out now, called Push Our Luck. And I had a blast. It was so fun. The judges still, I mean, it was interesting at the end. None of them really commented on the actual performance or the song itself and how the performance was. They didn't say anything about that. All their commentary was basically, good for you for sticking to your guns. And if you're happy with your decision, then
We're proud of you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it was a nice little, finish to the story, but yeah, and I didn't make it through the third round, but honestly, I did. I came to do what I wanted to do, and I was proud of that, and so I was happy going home. I was like, I'm ready to just fly with these new wings.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How does that make you guys feel hearing that? That's a difficult decision to make, right? When you have all these 4 judges who are like global superstars and like, they're the best at what they do, and Simon Cowell and Melby, and then you have your daughter who's like, no, I trust my gut, I'm going to do it. Like, how does that make you feel?
I was incredibly proud of her. I felt it took courage, it took maturity and wisdom, because I think, the judges, Simon even said it, that Darci, with her puppet alone, the way that she won her first time, gave her an unbelievably high probability, good chance she would have won that competition. It was for $250,000. And they told her pretty bluntly that if she chose to stray from that again, she'd probably be ruining her chances to win. So she made a very educated decision. And I have to admit, it would not have bothered me had she gone back and ended up winning, because that's not bad for a 19-year-old
You're
kid.
also in the banking industry
I'm
too.
in the banking business. I know what $250,000 is.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the end of the day, we've always tried to teach her that if you're doing something just for the money, and then maybe that's not the right motive. You got to pay the bills, obviously, but I think that decision told me she might be okay in this business. Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
I was just super proud of her because being a woman, sometimes women feel like, maybe I should do what someone's telling me to do in the industry, especially as a female ventriloquist. I mean, there's not very many of those. Right. There's a lot of female singers. And so I think her going back and just taking on Hollywood and saying, listen, I respect you and I love you and I thank you for what platform you gave me, but this is me. This is my heart. This is my passion. This is what it's telling me to do. And she listened to herself. And I think that's super important as a person, not even just a male or female, but as a person in general. You got to listen to yourself and not the static around you. And as long as you're happy and you're doing what you want to do. Yeah. And so we were very supportive and happy for her. And she's very brave. One of the bravest people I know.
How did it make you feel to be back on set at like AGT after all these years?
Oh my gosh.
For me,
Yeah.
Like for me as a mom, Darci has gone back on AGT for 7 years straight. Like they've invited her back every year.
Yeah.
So it's a family. They gave her graduation presents.
Oh, that's really
It was really
It's like almost like a welcoming homecoming reunion for Darci. And of course me, because I spent that whole time with her. Clark didn't get to do as often because of work, obviously. Yeah. So we made such good connections and such wonderful friends. They've come to her shows.
Yeah.
The crew and have come to her shows. And so it's like a family. Yeah. So we actually love going back.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It is.
How is it?
Is like a family reunion.
Yeah, it is.
Like a lot of the crew were there when I was 12, and they've been there every single year I've come back. They've seen me grow up because I came back when I was 16. I got my driver's license, everybody. Oh, that's crazy, Darci. And I came back when I was 18. I graduated, guys. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. Like, I mean, they watched me grow up, and one of my favorite people, Harvey, but we all call him Harv. He's one of the stage crew guys. He just came up to me after I did blocking rehearsal run through with just me singing on my own, and he just voiced how proud he was of me, because he watched me when I was, you know, the meek 12-year-old, didn't say a word to anybody, reserved, and then he watched me do that. He was, it was so sweet.
Yeah.
Like, so it's really cool to go back.
Yeah.
But
Clark, what stands out? I feel like you got
When I go back,
Yeah.
I'm just a tourist. They're doing all the work.
Yeah.
I may be carrying a puppet in a case or carrying a guitar. This last trip, I was the guitar
you're
tech.
the roadie.
But I can't. I just absolutely loved it. You know, Howie would always spend some time with us talking about his businesses outside of AGT, and always very friendly and courteous, and all the judges. I was just like a adult Disneyland for me, fun. And all the other contestants have such unique backgrounds, and talking to them in dressing room and getting to know them, and such a fantastic kaleidoscope of characters.
Special
really
place.
is.
Yeah. That's really cool to hear.
It is.
Finishing up, I think the last time we recorded, I think you made the comment when we were walking out that Darci's about to turn 18. I think in November your birthday is that right?
October.
It's about to turn 18, so we don't know where this is going to go, and that was almost 2 years ago. It's going well. But when you're 18, you can make your own decisions, and you had a tattoo recently, right? Last year. I want to finish with that. Let's talk about that as parents when your daughter says, I want to get tattoos.
Oh my God. Whoa.
Something fun, lighthearted to finish with.
So the first one, I've been wanting to get this tattoo for months.
Yeah.
And then when I turned 18, this was in July of last year. It was my mom's birthday, July 12th. And we were out shopping, and we got
breakfast.
food. And I was like, and she wanted to get her ears pierced for her birthday, her second piercing. And I was like, Mom, what if we got a tattoo? And I was thinking, because I would want to get this one forever, and I was thinking, she was like, absolutely not. You can get it, but and she was like, okay. I was like, what?
We didn't tell anyone.
And we went,
no one
You
knew.
had no idea.
I wasn't invited to this
and we
party.
walked, so we went to this tattoo parlor, walked in, told them what we wanted, and mind you, it's 2 lines. It's a cross. It's right here.
Cool.
It's 2 lines. It took 20 seconds, but we were just like, oh my gosh.
How painful was it, though?
Oh, not bad at all.
It was like a little scratch.
Okay.
It wasn't bad at all.
And so we come home.
But I went first. She made me go first. And I said, if
I was
you don't
nervous.
get one of these and I do,
And so we went home, and we were like, to my dad, we were
Yeah.
like, do you notice anything different?
Obviously not.
almost
Like, you
like-
never noticed
we were
that.
like hiding from everyone. It was kind of funny.
It was so funny to reveal it to him.
Yep.
But I will never forget that. That was fun. And then I got another one, a bigger one,
Yeah.
right here.
There's a meaning behind
But
it.
this one's important to me because I wrote a song called Hey Butterfly. It's not out yet. But I, at least over the last year, I think I've felt boxed in, right, in the box. I don't want to be put in a box. And Hey Butterfly is kind of just a song about not letting people's words ground you, is one of the lyrics. And allowing yourself to have the evolution that you're supposed to have. God doesn't call us to stay stagnant. We're ever changing, and that's really important to me, especially right now at 19. So that's why I got this one to remember that. But yeah.
Brilliant. you don't have any?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I haven't.
No,
It's a cool
this
family one
line
to
has
have.
a
That's
huge
a cool-
one right
Yeah,
here.
right.
I think I'm going to sit those out. I love theirs, and I'm all for them getting more, but
I'm the same way.
Careful what
Not
you
my
say.
cup.
Scared of
tea.
needles.
Yeah.
Not happening. Finishing up, where more music is obviously coming out. You mentioned, Hey Butterfly's not out yet, so it's obviously
Right.
coming at some point.
That's a great question.
Any announcements to finish with that you're allowed to
Oh
share
my
right now?
gosh. Genuinely, I'll get back to you in like some business days. Right now I'm trying to figure this out. The music world is so new to me, and I haven't quite figured out what my exact sound is. And I truly want to grow in the craft of songwriting and immerse myself into that world and meet lots of people, write with lots of people, and tell a lot of stories, and see what happens from there. I'm not sure. I would definitely say at least expect more music sometime.
Great.
But I guess the big announcement is that I'm working on it and I'm learning a lot about myself right now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Great timing. It's great to use songwriting to do that, right? And kind of document this moment in your life, and you look back in 20, 30 years and be like, I was singing about that because that's how I felt. So,
yeah.
and when the sun comes out, we'll be playing golf soon too, right? We need to make that happen.
That's right.
We definitely will.
Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming back. Thank you for all being on the podcast. I don't think you expected that, but I appreciate you coming and sitting in and telling great stories. It's been awesome. And for people listening, if you don't already follow Darci, the link will be in the description to Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is they're not following because you have a lot of followers. I'm sure someone listening is following you. But thanks so much for being here, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
You bet.
For people listening, we will catch you next episode. Cheers.
Hope you guys enjoyed that great episode. Thank you so much for listening. As always, huge shout out to our sponsors, the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, sharing Oklahoma story through its people since 1927. For more information on the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, go to www.oklahomahof.com and follow them on Instagram for daily updates at oklahomahof. Our other sponsor, the Chickasaw Nation, amazing sponsor. They do amazing things for the state, and they're always sponsoring something in Oklahoma. They're a huge supporter of Oklahoma, and without their support, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And our third sponsor is Diffie Ford Lincoln down in El Reno. Now, this one makes me so happy because these guys are great friends of mine, play a lot of golf together. I've bought my cars from them, do most of my oil changes down there, have a cup of coffee, hang out down in El Reno. It's a good spot to go. And not only are they great friends, but they provide a great service. So for over 60 years, third generation family owned Oklahoma business down in El Reno. They're also in Bethany as well. So people in the Bethany area know the Diffies really well. But if you're looking for anything new, used, Ford, Lincoln, or whatever, I'm sure they could find anything you want. Check them out, diffieford.net, and then on Instagram at diffiefordlincoln. This episode is presented by Citizens Bank of Edmond. Citizens Bank of Edmond has been serving Edmond since 1901. They pride themselves on investing in the community and are here for all your personal and business banking needs. For more information, go to mycitizens.bank and follow them on Instagram at citizensedmond, as well as go bank there because I bank there too. It's been a fantastic personal experience for me. I've had my podcast account there now, my podcast business account there now for 4 years now, I think, and it's been fantastic. So definitely worth your time. They're a great group of people, and they're always there to answer the phone when I forget my password because I seem to forget it daily. Go to Citizens Edmond and check them out. It's been awesome.
Thank you for listening. We are inspired by those around us and hope that you are too. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review so we can keep telling your stories. For more great Oklahoma content, follow This Is Oklahoma on Facebook and Instagram.